Well, I think I've learned that there's really only one thing standing between the life you currently lead and the life you've always dreamed of. And it's something I'm calling the edge. This is the mental state you find yourself in when you're pursuing something meaningful and all of a sudden, fear seems to block your path, right? This could be fear of failure, fear of social ridicule, fear of the potential disappointment if you work so goddamn hard on something and it just doesn't work out. And this fear makes us believe that we no longer know where we're going or what we're doing. It makes us believe that we can't be the ones capable of doing something that remarkable. But let's just imagine for a moment if you weren't frozen by that fear, if you didn't quit, right, and you continued to walk across the edge, endured the mild discomfort, acted despite the fear. Because if nothing else, I feel like in that, you would see what you're capable of. And if you did that, what could your life eventually look like? It is a grey and dreary Sunday in England, and I am going to go and play some basketball, put some shots up, lift some weights, and have a sauna session with one of my best pals. I thought I'd just give a little life update on everything that's going on, because I feel like I've been completely out of whack with just content and, I don't know, just myself a little bit over the last few days. But I've been thinking of switching up the way I make videos, because the reality is I don't know if I really enjoy the nature of videos on YouTube that have to do well on the algorithm, like the typical like recipe of how to make a video do well, of all these like engaging, stimulating videography techniques, and you have to hook them in the first 5 seconds and then develop a narrative and all this kind of like bollocks that for me takes away from the real important message from the video and the humanness and the authenticity. So I think I'm just going to film more of my life and add the psychology, philosophy, self-improvement-y lessons and messages throughout, and just create like a big ass like documentation of my life, of the Joel Clifton experience, and just see what the hell happens. So today's day one, it's the 8th of September, and we're gonna go and have a good day. I'm gonna show you what I do on a typical Sunday when I go and see Jacob and go and train. So yeah, hope you're doing well, people. Did you forget where the car was?
No, yours was just like a sharp right.
A sharp right. What baked good did you get? Did you get the classic? Oh no, you didn't.
I got a pistachio and chocolate.
I had one the other day, they're shite.
Are they? I've never had them before, so.
The chocolate doesn't really, well actually nah, I'll leave you to review. The chocolate to me doesn't really taste like chocolate. But I think that idea of like, you don't want your life to be easy, but you also don't want your life to be so hard that it's like traumatic and wearing you down. Where's that middle point? What I really want is like stuff that's difficult enough that I can do it, but doesn't overwhelm me. Like pushing, growing.
Happy would suggest without suffering.
Yeah.
And
you want a microdose of suffering. And also, it's like try and avoid suffering in life.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit it anyway. Even if you try and avoid it and you do everything you can. You know, your mum's gonna die, you have a bad illness, your country politically falls into shit, like, even if you try and avoid hard things, then your life becomes shit because you're a weasel. You're a weasel with no backbone. So it's like you have to like voluntarily go into the hard things. You can't. If you're trying to avoid hard things, your life becomes like just bland and like just meaningless. Anyway, review the baked good.
It's not terrible. It's I don't particularly like the chocolate. It's kind of like a wrong sort, maybe.
It's a bit dark chocolate in it. A bit too cocoa-y than artificial sugariness. But you've eaten it.
I think the filling they need to check again.
Sainsbury's, check again on your filling, right?
But it's a fairly new good, I'm guessing, so hopefully adjustments will be made.
Adjustments will be made.
There's one thing that I really wish I'd learned earlier, and it's this idea of cognitive reframing. It's a psychological phenomena that basically suggests that we can consciously alter the way that we view our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, and our experiences through mental practice. And I believe the fear that we experience when we leave our comfort zone and we reach the edge of a better life or a life we've always dreamed of, well, that fear can be reframed. If every time you make a step towards a life that you've wanted or that you've had the goal of achieving, you feel a sense of fear or uncertainty, then surely we can assume that these emotions, these feelings, are just a necessary part of the process. Fear is a requirement to keep going. And if we agree that this is the case, surely then fear is just a sign that we are moving towards something we actually want, an indicator that we are growing, an indicator that we are expanding into new territory of what we are capable of. So, right, if this is true, we can cognitively reframe, i.e. change the way that we view this fear and focus on it less as an uncomfortable experience that we should be averse to and get away from, and see it more as an indicator that we are on the right path. The more fear that you endure and keep going, the closer you get to a life or a goal that you want.
So I realised that I never really mentioned in a video yet about the big change that I've made in my life as a commitment to like walk across my edge, right? And go further despite the fear towards the life that I'm wanting for myself in the future. And that is, I've moved location. Base camp has moved to London. Well, not really like London as in like central London, scary city, industrial skyscrapers, all that. No, a suburb of London in the south, right, about an hour away from the centre. Transferred university, and it's the first time I feel like I'm properly flying the nest. I mean, I lived like an hour away from home last year, but this is 4.5 hours away from home, so it's a big change. And I'm doing this because it's the right move for the career I want to go into. So I want to play professional wheelchair basketball in my 20s. The coaching and the training up here is so much better. I also want to see what happens when I put myself in different scenarios, right? This is out of my comfort zone. I'm a small town kid and I move into the biggest city in the country. So this will force me to grow up and leave my comfort zone and learn stuff about myself and adapt and evolve. I'll be honest, like there was times where I thought, Joel, you don't know what you're doing. Is this the right decision? How do you know you're capable of taking advantage of a risk like this? And despite that voice, I kept going. And to be honest, a week or two into living here, I feel like it's been a good decision. Training's good, I'm happy. I think it's important to not just talk. I mean, not just talk about theories and ideas, but actually explain how I'm trying to apply them, because ideas about application is meaningless. So I'm gonna eat this massive bowl of Joel yogurt and then continue my day. I'm now gonna try and answer the question that I posed at the beginning of the video, which was, if we continued to walk along the edge of what we are capable of, what could our life eventually look like? And I think it's something that I alluded to when I was eating the meal deal in the car. The flow state is an intense experience of insight, creativity, and satisfaction that you come across when you are in the zone, right? Deeply invested in one activity so that all distractions melt away and your sense of time just dissolves. And to reach flow state, it requires that you create a couple of conditions, right? The most important one is that you pick a task that is difficult and demanding enough that it requires your focus, but it isn't too difficult that you are completely overwhelmed. Also, you should be able to focus on just that one activity. All the noise and all the distractions should be cut out so you can have that razor sharp focus. And the reason I'm talking about flow state and the conditions required to get there is because flow state is an extremely meaningful experience. This is the level of happiness that makes you feel truly alive. And it makes your life and what you're doing and what you're creating and working for feel worth doing, right? Meaningful. And it's my estimation that this feeling of being truly alive and feeling that your life is worth doing and experiencing is what living the dream actually means. You might have material ideas of what you want in the future, and that's all well and good, but isn't making it, right? This idea of living the dream, right? Having your dream life really just about making your life meaningful and trying to find that deep level of happiness as often as we possibly can. The main important idea that I want you to get from this video is this. The idea that to induce flow, we have to find a task that is difficult enough that we are engaged, but not too difficult that it overwhelms us, is basically the same idea as being on the edge, right? The line between your life as it is with your current capabilities and the life that you've dreamed of with the skills and capabilities that are just still out of reach. And just as walking this line induces flow state and a sense of deep meaning in the tasks you do on an everyday level, I also think that walking this line on a philosophical level, right, being willing to live on your edge in the way that you view and approach life, induces a kind of flow in your whole human experience, i.e., it makes your life feel maximally meaningful. Because you don't want your life to be devoid of discomfort or fear. Let's be honest, right? You don't just want to live in la la land of peace and happiness and joy. You want your life to be an adventure. So if you are chasing a dream, chasing a goal, chasing something meaningful and valuable that you want in your life, and you feel a level of fear blocks your path, you have to keep going. Because that's a sign that you're growing. It's a sign that you're having the adventure of your life. And if you can get over that emotional, psychological barrier, because that's all it is, right? If you can get over that and continue to walk across the edge, then on the other side is a feeling of being truly alive and a feeling that your life is truly worth living.
Joel Clifton, yeah, please sub and comment and like. But on a serious note, the content is very good. It makes you think about yourself and your life differently.